Hey, this is Lorena, and I wanted to do a video for you on what it is or what it looks like for me to do an embroidery workday. I have a job from a client that I have about 10 shirts I need to embroider. So since you guys like the long arm workday, I thought maybe you'd like an embroidery workday and how I get everything going. All right, so come work with me. All right, one of the first things I start doing is cleaning up my environment. I make sure that I put all the things or projects that I've been working on, I put them all away. I have boxes in the corner down here. I get all the boxes off the floor, anything that's on the floor, off the floor, and just kind of clean everything up. I also restock like my bobbins or things that I know I need to get ready for the job. And so I just kind of start cleaning everything up because I want you to know when you work for a job, you're going to make a mess, and it's best to have a clean beginning so that when you make a mess, it doesn't become a double mess. All right, when I get a job, I go ahead and start unpacking the client's items. I make sure that I remove any plastic, paper linings, clips, or anything that whatever company shipped it to them is off of the garment. One of the reasons I go through the unpackaging process is because each shirt or each different style shirt is hooped different, and also too the setup is different. As I was arranging some of my shirts, I tend to unbutton the collar pockets and open everything up, and in a way I'm preparing everything for when I start hooping everything. And I go through and number how many items I need to embroider. A lot of times the client will say, oh, I'm only bringing you 10, and then it ends up being less than that or more than that. And this way you have an idea of how much stabilizer you need to cut. Also too, it helps you get the thread ready, and also gives you an idea of what kind of hoops you're going to use. Certain types of shirts, you use a certain hoop. In this process, you also get to see if some shirts have collars, some shirts have buttons, some shirts have pockets. It gives you an idea of what you're going to be working with ahead of time before you put it on the machine. And it really helps a lot. All right, let's talk digitizing. A lot of times I do a digitizing job before I even get the work into my house. I ask the client to send me a picture of the digital design, and then I digitize it. The reason I do that is sometimes digitizing an item takes longer. Sometimes I can't do them, so I don't want to waste the client's time. Also too, I do 2 run-throughs, meaning I do that logo and I embroider it twice or one time, send a picture to the client. Any changes they want, I rechange it and run it again. I do charge, based on the logo, the simplicity of digitizing it, $25 to $100 per logo. Yeah, it's kind of expensive. If it's an easy logo to digitize, I do it for free. But I tend to do this before I even get the client in my door. Part 4 is preparing the shirts to be embroidered. I go ahead and I cut enough stabilizer to do the whole job, and then I also start pulling out the hooping system that I'm going to use for the shirts. Sometimes I use 2 different hooping systems based on the type of shirts, but by that time I kind of have an idea of what I need. What I tend to do is when I hoop a shirt is I make sure that the hoop is consistent shirt to shirt, especially if the shirts are the same. Sometimes you'll have a lot of shirts you're working on and you don't want to be hooping them differently and then placing them on the machine differently, and then you're resetting the machine. This saves a lot of time, okay? Promise. Saves a lot of time. Let's talk setting up the machine. I end up getting the logo ready and I download it, yes, to a floppy disk on this machine and a USB on this one. And then I start downloading the logo into the machines. When I'm doing that, I start getting the thread ready based on the colors of the logo, and I start rethreading each embroidery machine to embroider those colors, okay? Also too, while I do this, is I clean the inside of the bobbin area. I remove any filth or dirt from a job before. I oil the bobbin, and I also start working on the tension on my bobbin. Here I'm showing you an L bobbin Tova tension gauge thing again. I showed it to you in the long arm. They have it for regular sewing machines. So if you have tension problems on sewing machines, you can use this Tova. They have one for M and one for L, and that's what I use for my embroidery machine and sewing machines. Now, once you have your machine ready to go and the digital design is in the computer of the machine, now that you have your shirts already hooped, you go ahead and get your hoop shirts and hoop it onto your machine. There's several things I want you to think about when you're hooping. Make sure there's nothing underneath the hoop. Make sure no collars are caught somewhere around the needles because you can ruin a shirt. I've done it before. Make sure that you also designate the right color for the right area of the logo, because I've done that too. And then placement. Make sure the logo is where you want it to be on the garment. I have a little green grid that really does help me know exactly from my machine to the hoop itself where the item's going to be. It's tremendous. I love it. It's a blessing. Once I do that, I start one machine. So I set up one machine, go through the whole system of a machine, get it going. And then while I have that one machine running already, I start setting up the second machine. You want one machine, if you have to, going first, so it gets ahead of you a little bit while you're setting up the second one. Start the second machine. While I'm waiting for one of the machines to finish, I go ahead and start cutting out the stabilizer off of the shirts and start nipping any extra threads off of the garments. And then if I still have time, I'll fold the garment and place it in a box. And I only do that when I'm waiting for a machine, because I want to make sure that I always have something hooped, and I always want to make sure that my machines, both of them, are running. And sometimes it kind of doesn't work because my thread breaks and I have to rethread the machine, or sometimes the machine needs a new bobbin. I need to refill the bobbin into it. But if you have everything accessible and quick to grab and go, you can be real quick about repairing those things and maintaining the machine going quickly. And yeah, that's how I get my jobs done. I love this way of working because it creates this wonderful rhythm. And honestly, I could do probably 9 to 10 shirts in less than probably an hour. Less than an hour? Yeah, less than an hour. From start to finish. Yeah, that means from picking up and cleaning everything around and starting the job. So yeah, I really do hope you like my process of working for clients. I thank you for watching. All right, bye.